Hi guys, I'm just going to speak to you quickly today about peers and the relationship it plays within sport. Okay, so your peers are not like what was on the first slide there. It's not something you eat. Your peers are the people that you surround yourself with, that you choose to surround yourself with. So generally your friends, okay? So you might have some at Heretaunga College, you might have some at Upper Hutt, you might have some all throughout New Zealand, but they are people that you choose to hang around with. And we're going to look at how that directly relates to the sport or the sports that you play. So some key links between the two: you're more likely to participate in sport if your peers participate too. Generally, if you play a sport together, you will share common interests. Because you spend a lot of time together, practice, games, tournaments, etc., friendships develop. Close friends are often made within sports teams or events, and if you don't participate in sport and your friends play, you're more likely to give that sport a go. And the opposite side of that as well, if you are playing a sport and your friends stop playing that sport, you're more likely to stop playing that sport as well. So a few things that sort of tie it all in together. You do spend a lot of time with these people. So if you are practicing and playing and going to tournaments and you don't like them, you're probably more likely to pull out. If you do like them, you're more likely to stay in there, okay? And when you think about it, in terms of a social context, what you talk about is generally, if you're really into it, revolved around sport. So stats, games, competitions, all those sorts of things. And if you're not into that sport, then you're not going to involve yourself in those conversations, okay? So it all comes back to your interest in sport and your friends' interests. So a few bromances and girl crushes within professional sport. So Tiger Woods, who was an American golfer, and Roger Federer, who was a tennis player from Switzerland, would have never met if it wasn't for sport. They play two different sports, but yet they've still become very good friends, okay? Kyrie Irving and Kay Love, they play the same sport, basketball, and their love of basketball has taken them to the NBA and into the same team, but they're really good friends throughout all of that. In the middle here, Alex Morgan and Sydney Leroux are two professional football players in America. They play for the women's national team, the USA team, and they are from opposite sides of America, and they would have never met if it wasn't for sport and their love of football. And one that might surprise you down the bottom here, Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. Now, they once had a boxing match in which Mike Tyson tried to bite the ear of Evander Holyfield and actually took a bit of his ear off in that match. But even through all that, they are good friends. So their common interests of boxing and being professional boxing, even though at one stage they hated each other, they've become good friends. Okay. So it's not just sport, but activity as well. One factor that influences activity levels is the social context. You're more likely to be active when you are in the company of peers and friends than when you are alone, because physical activity typically involves some form of play that requires peers or play partners. Okay, so what's that saying? What is that saying? It's saying that if you're alone and by yourself, there's not really too much that you can participate in. Okay, generally most of sports and activities involve things that are more than one person. Okay, so if you are constantly involved in a social context when you're hanging out with your friends, you're more likely to play sport or do some form of activity. Right, team, well, thanks for listening. Hopefully I've given you a few ideas about how your peers or your friends relate to the sport that you play. Sweet.